Welcome to the John Sue and Michael Rosmer video battlethon inspired by Gary Vaynerchuk. Today, I'm going to talk about two things that I think are really valuable in helping to understand emotions, but a more complex interpretation of emotions is the melting pot of emotions, positive and negative, that we call experiences. So first off, I want to define what an emotion is. An emotion are one or are singular feelings about something. So happy is an emotion, sad is an emotion, frustrated is an emotion, angry is an emotion. Those one monopole emotions or feelings about something. A good way to think about it, an emotion is a one-sided interpretation or a one-sided attitude about something. Experiences, you know, are how do we say defined as human experiences like finding yourself, becoming a father, becoming a brother, becoming a son. Actual things that you become in life are what I define as experiences. Being a parent or having a child. All of those things have a mix of positive and negative emotions. So, having a child, is that a good thing? Yes, it is. But is it only good? Of course not. I look at people's kids, I think, thank God I don't have any of those kids, right? Because they probably call the cops on me for beating their ass, right? But do I see the joys of when I hang out with my nieces and nephews? Of course I do. But I also realize, having kids, it's a good and a bad thing. It's not just these one-off things. You can see emotions, I guess, as a static interpretation of the past or the future, right? They are chapters within the book of life, right? When you think about experiences is like the book, it's like a story, whole entire story of emotions, where emotions are just the chapters within that experience, and they are not full stories or full books. But for some reason, we've confused emotions as the whole story, right? When they're not. A lot of people say, well, John, what about, how can things be good? There are things in life that are purely good. And they'll say something like having a lot of money. I said, oh, having a lot of money is good. Well, then how do you explain these people who won the 649 and then end up being even more miserable than they were before they won the money? Or, people will say something like, oh, you know, um, violence is bad. And I'll say, oh, violence is bad? And I'll say, you ever see police kill a man to save, a whole building of innocent people that are going to get murdered by kidnappers? That's a good thing of violence. But you ask, is violence purely bad? No, it's not. It's got good and bad components to it. Just like winning the 649, it has good and bad components to it. And that's what I'm saying is emotions are one-sided stories that are not wrong, but they are just not the whole story, right? And I think a lot of people, we've been taught that, be good, not bad. But as you grow up through life, you realize this good and bad, black and white thinking is so subjective because your parents teach you, you know, what all good is. And then as you grow up in life, you realize life's just not like that. And then you find out their definition is wrong. And then you kind of make up your own definition of what good and bad is. And you realize, you know what? That definition is not also right. So what is it? And then what I learned about this whole good and bad thing is that everything in life has a good and bad component to it, and that's the truth of the matter. That's the experience of life. There is no pure good or bad. There's no pure good or bad event, experience, or person in all of life. And how that's really changed my life is I get to be more present and experience things for all they are. I'm more accepting of the bad things in my life, right? Instead of running from it or rejecting it or saying, "Oh, that's shit." I'm more accepting of it. I don't like it. I don't look forward to it. I don't enjoy it. Like some of these self help junkies, "Oh, I love pain." No, you don't love pain. You love how you feel after you've overcome it. But when you're in the pain, no one loves pain, right? No one loves pain. Nobody loves that stuff. It's wired in us. So going back to, okay, why am I talking about emotions and experiences? Like, what's the point of saying all of this stuff? The reason why I'm bringing this up is to help people get a more 360 view of life. Because most people just want to live a good life and they want to avoid a bad life. But that, half of life, in theory, life is half bad. And if you're always avoiding the negative stuff, how present can you be? 50% at best, right? And if you think about it, maybe my theory is all bullshit, but if you learn to be more accepting of negative experiences, you'll notice your life will seem to flow a lot better. There'll be less huge hiccups to it because you're not running from negativity. You're, how would we say, facing it a lot more often. You got to think about the last time when you were forced to face a negativity. That negativity went away faster than usual, than most other negativity stuff, as opposed to the negative stuff that you avoid for months on end. Then all of a sudden, you end up getting, life brings that negative event, whether it be quitting a big job or getting fired, or that relationship that you are unhappy in, and then eventually the person couldn't be with you anymore, so they got rid of you, right? So when you're kind of seeing these, having these experiences in life, or more importantly, you're trapped, or you feel trapped or paralyzed by these emotions, positive or negative, take a moment, take a breath, breathe in. Like if you're feeling, you met some new guy and you're like, "Oh my God, he's so perfect," right? Take a breath and say, "Well, is he all perfect? Or maybe that's just what I see of him. There must be more." And how many people meet Prince Charming on the first few dates, then all of a sudden, this ugly stain comes out of nowhere, right? We've all been there, or we've done an investment that we thought for sure this is 100% winner guaranteed, and all of a sudden you lose money, and it fails. So that's my 2 cents. Is when you're having, think about the emotions and the experiences of what I'm talking about, and realize when you're experiencing emotions, it's not the full story. When you're experiencing experiences, that's more a complete story, not the whole entire story, but a more complete understanding and interpretation of your life or whatever you're experiencing.